I bought you something. I bought you a present.
You bought me a present?
Yes, I did. It's all for you. I'm going to show you what it is. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, now don't get carried away now. This is something I just thought you should have. Big box. You need to open it. What is it?
Metal detector.
A what?
A metal detector.
A metal detector. Was I thoughtful or not?
Oh,
huh?
yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. It's a Garrett Ace 250. Isn't that slick?
It even has a DVD to tell you how to use it.
Yes, it does. Old Rocky, he's excited about the metal detector too, I think. All right, check it out. Boy, it's got a lot of neat stuff in there.
A set of headphones.
Yeah, got a set of headphones. All for you. Got some books.
All for me.
Yeah. All right, inside this bag here is a digger and a sifter. There's a knife. Comes with a knife. Got some gloves for digging with. Boy, those are expensive looking gloves. And you got I think this is a bag to store your stuff in. And there's your DVD.
And that's a treasure guide. It shows
Oh,
you
a treasure guide, state by state. And here's a pouch, a leather pouch to put stuff in. Well, that's pretty slick. All right.
You can borrow this.
For what?
You could go out there and find that brass ring you lost.
That piece I lost out in the grass? That's amazing. I never would have thought of that, honey. I never. You are a genius. Holy mackerel. This thing was ordered out of Winter Springs, Florida from an outfit called Calico. And I just took the battery cover off to put some batteries in, and they had already put batteries in it for me. That's pretty slick. So if you're from Calico and you're watching this, as a customer, I want you to know I appreciate that. That was a nice touch. Trust me, I really like things like that. Well, wifey's out here been scouring around trying to find something. She got a hit. Let's hear that hit again. Let's hear it again. Make sure it's a good one. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Dig around there a little more. She knows there's something down in there. It's there. Be careful. What do we have here? What do we have here? Looky, looky, it is my bushing. Oh, you did good, baby. You did real good. No, I'm so glad I bought you that metal detector. Now that our lost bushing has been found and everybody's happy once again, me in particular, let's get back to the rest of this radio. Going back to this tuning gear, I handed it over to my buddy Wade. I burned off all the old plating, handed it to my buddy Wade, and it just would not hardly take any chrome plating. We're not sure what the problem was. Maybe something to do with the metal, maybe something they put under there. I took off as much as the old as I could, and it took it, but it just didn't look right. So I went ahead and removed it again, and this time we're going to go ahead and we're giving it a second coat of silver here. We're just going to paint it and not make a big deal about it. You know, we're just going to go ahead and move on. Well, guess what? It turns out, after all that work of cleaning this potentiometer and getting the switch working and everything, it turns out that this is a replacement. This is only a 50K, which, you know, we knew. But I've done a little checking around, a little looking, and I found out this isn't even remotely similar to the original potentiometer, what it looks like. The original one was, you know, half again as big around. It was a good size one. It was like that. And they ran 500K. So, I am going to have to come up with a different way of doing this. Meanwhile, while we're trying to figure out what to do with that potentiometer, you know, what we're going to do, I've got an idea how we're going to solve it. It's no problem, never a problem. What we're going to do is focus our attention now on this band switch. It is really rusty, man. It's totally jammed. It won't move at all, and I don't want to force it. No way. You break one of these band switches, you got problems. You got, some components in these radios are very critical. You break the band switch, it can be repaired. I have repaired them, but I'll tell you what, it's not easy. You mess up any of your coils, in particular your local oscillator coil, big problem. You got to go through a lot of gyrations to repair it also. So, your tuning condenser, things like that. This is one of them, very critical, so you have to take your time. Now this thing here now, because I put the socket back in, and because I've got the local oscillator coil, fastened to the chassis, this thing here doesn't have a whole lot of swing room. So I'm going to have to do the cleaning in the chassis. I'm going to have to derust it, clean it, get it all functional. Now this shaft has quite a bit of rust buildup on it. It's not just pitted rust, but it's actually built up. So if you take a blade knife, a knife blade, blade knife, if you take a knife blade, just kind of scrape it a little bit, you can get rid of that loose surface rust. Use a sharp blade, just kind of scrape it a little bit, get it cleaned up, get it ready for the navel jelly. It'll dull your knife blade, so what? We can get knife blades. We can get new knives all day long. I'm already tired of wrestling with this thing. Trying to get it clean, getting our little brush, trying to work it down in there and twist it this way and twist it that way. Alright, enough of this nonsense. Let's go for the gusto. That's what we want, gusto. And it comes with a pair of dikes. Yes, sir. Boom. There's one down. One down. Yes, we're getting that sucker out of there. No more of this crap. It's coming out. We're going to make it happen. We're just going to chop and chop until there's nothing left to chop. I love that. I should have been a Chinaman. Chop, chop, Yes, we're just going to do it to it. I mean, we can put this back together. And if we can't, remember, I always have my buddy Brendan up in Detroit. I can just box this baby up, send it to him and say, come on, Brendan, you can do this for me. You like me, don't you? You can do this. Let me see if there's another one I can cut. Yeah, man, bam, there's another one. Ooh. And let me see, is there any more? I'm having so much fun here. I just don't want to run out of wires to cut. Let me see. Yep, there's one there. Yes. And I think there's another one. Yeah, right there. Almost got it. Yeah. Yeah, baby. Here we go. Oh. Looky there. She's out. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, she is out. She's cleaning up pretty good. And I've got, a lot of the old varnish and crap off of the alcohol, but not as much as I want. It's going to take a good brushing with a lacquer thinner. So I'll get that done at a later time. But right now I want to concentrate on breaking this shaft loose so the entire mechanism will turn. I want that shaft to turn. And so I'll be spraying some WD-40 down in this area right here. I'm letting it soak for a while. Once we get it broke loose, we're home free. Well, it took a little over an hour and a half of playing with this thing, but finally it has broken loose and it works fine. It's easy to turn. Of course, being a band switch, I would have to hang on to it with one hand and turn the shaft with the other, but I can't do that since I'm only one-handed here with this camera. But anyway, just take my word for it. It turns very easily, very nice. And now we just need to do a little rust removal on the shaft, and a little bit of rust removal down in here, and I think a little rust removal on the two nuts back here to hold the whole assembly together. Once we get that done, it will be complete. It gave it up. It took some time, but we won the battle. Well, it's a new day and a new morning, and I've been spending the last 15 minutes or so cleaning all the contacts all up and down the wafers on this band switch with some lacquer thinner. And once again, lacquer thinner proved to be our friend. You have to do this stuff outside. Don't be using lacquer thinner in the house. It's just too dangerous. But boy, I'll tell you, it just shines them up really good. And the last thing to do is you just give it a good spray down with the contact cleaner one more time. Just spray it up good. give it the final touch. And last but not least, I'm putting a little bit of flux. Now that we found our collar, I decided instead of epoxying this thing on, I'd go ahead and I think I can do a solder job on this, you know. So I put a little bit of flux around there and a little bit of flux on the collar. Opened up the hole a little bit. It was a little bit tight, so now she fits good, nice and snug. Now I'll just go ahead and heat it with the Burns-O-Matic, and I think I can flow a little bit of solder between the two on each side. It doesn't have to be a whole lot. Alright, here we go. Let's see if we can heat this enough that it'll take a little bit of solder around the edges. You don't have to go crazy heating it. Don't have to go crazy. Well, I think that's got it. It's still smoking a little bit, but it didn't take hardly any heat at all, and it just sucked the solder in right around the bottom edge. You can't even see where it was done. So after it cools, let's see if it's going to work. Well, she's in there, solid as a rock. Not going to go anywhere. That turned out much better than expected again. Alright. So all we have to do on this is a little bit of de-rusting here and there. And then we'll wind up painting this white on the inside and silver on the backside. Well, that's it for this video. We'll go ahead and wrap this up. I'll be out of town for the next few days. I have to head north, up to North Arkansas. And I guess I'll see everybody next week. So go ahead and digest everything I've showed you not to do. And I appreciate you all still coming along for the ride. And like I said in the very beginning of this video series, it's going to be a long series. We're not even halfway done yet. Some of you think that's great. Now, some of you just want this thing to go on all the way through into the winter time. Anyway, until next time, I'll be back next week. This is John.